talk about the 7 walks in the book of Ephesians. Because walk is mentioned 7 times in the book of Ephesians. But before we get into that, I want to get into a little bit of understanding about how to understand the Bible. Well, I'm sure you've already guessed that the walks in Ephesians are not literal. Because I really don't think the Bible's going to talk about walking fast, walking slow, walking purposefully. You know, literally, walking means picking up your foot and moving one in front of the other. So probably you've already figured out that that's not what it's going to be talking about. Well, there's 3 ways you can take words. The first is literally. The second is figuratively. And traveling through life is figuratively walking. A famous poem talks about the road not taken, and the image there is of walking down a road. Well, as we go through life, the figurative language is we're walking through life. Our walk of life. That's figurative. Now, I brought this up because there's a 3rd way, and that's called symbolic. That is when it's a figurative phrase that means something else. It has a hidden meaning. And there's a lot of problems in the religious world because there's a whole lot of people that are treasure hunters. They want to find something in the Bible that nobody else has found. They want to find something, and so they're always looking for symbols. And you know, you'll see that if you look on social media at any time, the Bible's secret to long life. There's all these hidden things that people look for. And yes, the Bible has symbolism. The Old Testament is full of symbolic things because it was full of prophecy. And that takes something that you can see and talks about something you can't. So, but the point I want to read some verses here. I'm going to read John 20:31. The Gospel of John, 20th chapter, and verse 31. But these are written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have life in his name. The purpose the scriptures were written is so we could believe. They weren't written so they could hide things. They were written so they could reveal things. I want you to turn now to 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17. All scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, for training in righteousness, that the man of God may be competent, equipped for every good work. Does this sound like something that you have to search for every hidden meaning? And no, this talks about something that will make you competent. See, there's a difference between learning and looking for hidden truths. When we were in first grade, there's a lot we didn't know. But as we went through school, we learned more and more and more, because that which we learned first was the pedestal and the stepping stone to get which was next and next. And that's the way the Bible works. The stuff you need is easy. And as you take the next step, that's easy. And each step becomes easy. Those people who were smart enough to get to calculus was fairly easy once they got there because they had taken every step in time. I'm bringing this up because the Christian world is really confused by people who are looking for every little hidden symbolic meaning instead of look at the Bible and go, is this literal? Or is it figurative? Or is it symbolic? And you should be able to tell. You should not have to go, okay, can I find a symbol in this? Can I find something here hidden? No. Just look at it and see it for what it is. Because the Bible was written for you to understand. It wasn't written to confuse you. So we're going to talk about these works in Ephesians. We're going to start with Ephesians, the 2nd chapter, and verses 1 and 2. Some of these walks are walks you should take, and some are walks you shouldn't. And you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience. The first walk is the walk in trespass and sin. It's a walk following the course of the world. Now, I did both because it's important that we understand that the course of the world is in trespass and sin. The world is going the wrong way. And that's hard for us because, as human beings, we try to get along in this world. We try to do the things we want to do. But it's important that we understand that the way of the world is in sin and trespass. The way of the world is not going where we're going. We need not to walk in that, even though we once did. And that's important. Everybody once walked that way. And somebody else's sin and their trespasses may seem a lot worse to you than your own. But to God, there's no difference. It doesn't matter if you shoot a rabbit in the head with a 22 or a 44 Magnum. The result's the same. Same thing is with sin. It doesn't matter whether it's a little bitty, teeny, weeny sin or a big, terrible sin. In God's eyes, it's the same, and the result is the same. We once did it. We don't do it anymore. And the goal of a Christian is when you've left the path of sin and trespass is that you stick your hand behind you so you can grab somebody and bring them along with you. You don't go back. You just put your hand out there and drag them along. Turn now to Ephesians, the 2nd chapter, verse 10. We're still in the 2nd chapter, go down to verse 10. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Our daily walk, our way of life, because that's what this walk means, should be doing good works. Does that mean you have to give up your job and go sleep on a bench and help people, all you can, pick up trash or whatever? No, but it means that you can do all the things that you need to do, but your way of life needs to be in doing good works. And as Doug brought up in our class this morning, that means opening your eyes. There's good work to be done every day, all day. And I think that's the clue about walking in good works, is you got to have your eyes open for the good works. You can walk, go through this life and do things, and it's not that you don't want to do good works, it's just you're not looking for them. You don't think about it. Well, that's the idea. We need to realize that our walk is to be in good works. That has to be our purpose as we go through life, is to do good things. That can mean paying for the meal of the person behind you in the drive-thru at McDonald's. That can mean stopping and picking up somebody. That can mean stopping by the road when somebody has a problem with their car and fixing it. It can mean all sorts of things, but it means having your eyes open, looking for ways that you can help people. And sometimes that's just saying, "Hi, Mike, you're doing a good job today." Because you don't know when that one word of encouragement can keep somebody from committing suicide. It has happened many times that a stupid little kind word, because that's the way we think of it, we're just saying, "Hey, I like what you did. You know what? You're nice. I hope you have a nice day." That's almost a throwaway for us. But when you're drowning in depression, self-loathing, and all those things that go with that, that can be a lifeline. But if you don't go looking for it, you won't find it. And sometimes that means having somebody with you with better eyesight than you. I have to tell you that that is one of my problems. I am Mr. Oblivious. If you're having a bad day, I probably won't see it. My wife has hit me on the shoulder sometimes and says, "Go over there and talk to that person. They're having a problem." No. We all need to open our eyes and be looking for those things. But if that's not your cup of tea, look around for other people that are better looking at those kind of things, and they can say, oh, yeah. Find somebody to help you look for ways to help, for good works. Turn now to the 4th chapter in Ephesians. It's a lot easier when we stay in the same book. You don't have to go that far. Now this I say and testify in the Lord, that you must no longer walk as the Gentiles do, in the futility of their minds. They are darkened in their understanding, alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardness of their heart. People go through life calloused and indifferent. Because they are ignorant. Willfully ignorant. And it's futile. It doesn't get them anywhere. But remember, when people are out there and they have the ignorance that comes from a hard heart, you know why people have hard hearts? It's called scar tissue. You'll find people out there that have hard hearts. They live in futility. They don't understand. They've been hurt. They built up scar tissue. Don't you be that way. And some of your good works that we talked about before can be showing kindness, helping to remove that scar tissue. And scar tissue can be removed quickly, but boy, does it hurt. So I suggest that you look for ways to help people soften their hearts slowly and kindly. I had what they called an adhesive encapsulation of my shoulder. My shoulder wouldn't move. So I went to physical therapy. And this pretty little girl, she couldn't have been higher than that. And just the cutest little thing would come over there and smile and would grab my arm and I left there with tears every single time. Be a little more gentle than that. But understand that getting rid of the hardness of heart is going to hurt. Not to be that way yourself. Don't walk in ignorance and hardness of heart. Soften your own heart. Soften that up. Care about people. If you care about people, let me tell you something. You're going to get hurt. If you love people, you're going to get hurt. If you act like a Christian, you're going to get hurt. Don't build a shell around your heart. Yes, you're going to get hurt, but you'll get through it. Yes, it's going to be painful, but you'll get through it. I used to run track. Now I just run around in circles. I had bad lungs. I had asthma all the time as a kid, but I still ran track. No. And I still got to the podium. But it hurt. It hurt. It was hard to run. But hurting can be good, because hurting means you've done something. So don't be afraid to do good because somebody's going to hurt you, because they will, but it's okay. Just like when I have to tell you, it's just pretty embarrassing. But I got on the podium, and one of the neat things when you're a high school student, when you get on the podium, is they give you that medal. It was worth the hurt. What God gives us is worth the hurt of softening our heart open to people. Let's turn to the 5th chapter and the 2nd verse. And walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us, a fragrant offering and a sacrifice to God. Back again to being hurt. Because the sacrifice hurts. Jesus sacrificed, and he wants us to walk that same way. He wants us to sacrifice because of love. I don't care what you do in this world, you're going to be hurt. You're going to have problems. But God wants us to walk, to live in love. And when we live in love, we're going to sacrifice. We're going to do things for other people. It's going to put us out sometimes. Maybe put us out a lot of times. But our way of life needs to be centered in love. Not centered in self, but centered in love. Walk in love. You know, that's probably one of the nicest things that you can have on your tombstone. Because guess what? You're going to have one, and there's going to be something on it. Whether it's a real tombstone or figurative, there's going to be something written on that. And there's very little that can be written on your tombstone better than this person was a loving person. We'll go on down now to verse 8. We're walking there. But this is pretty bold. He didn't say you were in darkness. He goes, you were darkness. When you're not a Christian, you are darkness. You're not just in darkness. It's become part of you. But now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. Bring light wherever you go. Be a shining light where people can see. One of my favorite quotes: it's better to light a single candle than to curse the darkness. It's better to be a single light walking in this world than to curse notice how dark the world is. Shine your light. I have to walk my dog at night. Usually it's between 12 and 2 o'clock at night. I could walk out there and be complaining because I'm stubbing my toe and everything, but I take a light. I shine the light. Be the light. Walk in light. So when you go through, not as unwise, but as wise, I think that's one of the most important things to understand about being a Christian. Being a Christian is purposeful. Walk as the wise, not the unwise. You have to be looking. The Christian life is going upstream. The easy life, the simple life, is floating downstream with the current. But the Christian has to walk as the wise, not the unwise, making best use of the time because the days are evil. Because pretty much it just makes me cry just to look at it. I want to tell you, there's a story of a politician in Oklahoma. And he's got his suit on and his good shoes. And he's telling the people what he's going to do for them. And you can see the cows over here and over there as he's walking along and he's talking about that. He lost the election. Because everybody knows you don't walk through a cow pasture looking up. You look down. Walk wisely. Look where you're walking. Yeah. When I was young, I thought that the more I studied the Bible, the more difficult and the more intense that it would get. But now at 75, I figured out that the more I study the Bible, the simpler it gets. The more basic and understanding. I'm not looking at the minutiae anymore and going, oh, watch where you're walking. Oh, wow. That's as deep as it gets. Look where you're walking. So often we don't just look at the scriptures and let them talk to us. Walk as the wise. Because the thing is we all have a walk of life. Everybody has one. Some walks lead you to heaven. Some walks lead you to hell. But the fact is, everybody has a walk. Everybody has a way of life. It's important that we choose the correct walks. If anybody needs to answer the invitation, you can come now as we stand and as we sing.